Hey everyone, I'm Armor Gaming, welcome back to my channel and welcome to Monster Legends. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the Monster Lab Monster Cell Week. For those of you that are new to the game and don't know what the Monster Cell Week is, it's basically just the perfect time to buy monster cells. Realistically, it's the only time you should be buying monster cells. During the Monster Cell Week, it's essentially buy one cell, get one free. So that makes it the perfect opportunity to get enough cells to craft the monster you've always wanted to craft, or to get enough cells to rank up a monster and make them really powerful. Now there's a few misconceptions with exactly how the Monster Cell Week works, especially with how many gems do you need to use up in order to get enough cells to craft a monster. So I'm going to be telling you guys all of that in the video. In fact, I'm even going to be showing you guys. But before that, let me just explain crafting for those of you that quite don't understand how it works. So if you want to craft any monster, you need 100 monster cells of that monster. However, if you don't have 100 monster cells, you can also substitute Elementium. But as far as substituting Elementium, there's essentially two different cases. The first of which is if you've never had that monster before. That monster isn't in your monstergram. In order to use Elementium, you need at least 80 monster cells. Which means if you're trying to craft a monster for the very first time, you don't have that monster in your monstergram, you need to buy 80 monster cells of that monster. Or I guess I should say you need to acquire 80 monster cells however you can, whether it be donations or buying them during the Monster Cell Week. And once you have 80 monster cells, then you can use the remaining 20 Elementium to make your monster. And then the second scenario is if you already have that monster. So as you can see here, I already have Deadwolf, and if I wanted to, I don't even need 78 more monster cells. I can just use 98 Elementium and I could craft Deadwolf. So I hope you guys understood that bit about using Elementium. Going back to the example of trying to craft a monster you don't have, for a majority of players when we're crafting a monster, it's typically to craft a monster we don't have. We normally don't want to craft a monster we already have. So for that reason, during the Monster Cell Week, that is the perfect opportunity to get yourself those 80 monster cells in order to craft whatever monster you want. So let's go back to the shop. There's a big misconception with how many gems you need to spend in order to get those 80 monster cells, or in fact if you want to get all 100 monster cells. So just take a look at any of the legendaries. Specifically, let's look at Frostbite. As you can see, for 3 gems you get 2 cells. Well, if you get 2 cells for every 3 gems, that means you just need to click purchase 50 times, which means you'd get 100 cells for 150 gems. And a lot of people go crazy, they think that's a really good deal, but it's not that simple. When Social Point sells a legendary monster, the lowest they sell that monster for is 225 gems. Do you really think they would give us the chance to get 100 monster cells for as little as 150 gems? That's not the case. In fact, what happens, as you purchase more and more cells, the price increases, and I'm going to demonstrate that right now with Frostbite. So pay attention to what I have so far. I have 8 monster cells for Frostbite, and I have 1,665 gems. Let's see how many gems it's going to cost me to get to 88 monster cells. And there we go, I'm at 88 monster cells. If I want to buy 2 more cells, it's going to cost me 12 gems. That's nowhere near being 3 gems. And as you can see, I now have 1,425 gems. And I started off with 1,665, which means it cost me 240 gems in order to get 80 Frostbite monster cells. So the short answer is no, this isn't cheaper than getting a monster when Social Point offers it for 225 gems. Nonetheless, this is still a really great way to get a monster. 240 gems for 80 monster cells, that's not too bad. Just keep in mind that you still need to pay for the remaining 20 monster cells in the form of Elementium, or you can just buy more monster cells. But there you go, now you know, if you want to get 80 monster cells of any monster, it's going to cost you 240 gems. But now I'm going to share with everyone a little secret, and honestly, it's not much of a secret, it's really just teamwork and cooperation. So one of the great things about being in a team in Monster Legends is that you can donate cells to your team members. So if you want to get a monster for a really good price, all you have to do is work together with one other teammate, or even several of your teammates, and then all of you can get monsters at a really low price. So let me demonstrate this with Sarah and Will Razorface. As you notice, they still cost 3 gems. They don't cost 12 gems even though I bought a lot of Frostbite cells. That's because each individual monster cell is independent. So let's just say I really want Sarah, and I have a teammate that really wants Will Razorface. And for my example, let's just assume I've never had a Sarah, my teammates never had a Will Razorface, so we each need to buy at least 80 monster cells in order to be able to craft our monsters. So there's essentially 2 ways to go about this. The first way is, I spend 240 gems to get 80 Sarah cells, and my teammate spends 240 gems to get 80 Will Razorface cells, and then we can both craft our monsters with Elementium. The second, better and more efficient way to do this is for myself to buy 40 Sarah monster cells and 40 Will Razor cells, and then my teammate does the exact same, and then for the next few days, me and my teammate just trade with each other constantly until I have my 80 Sarah cells, and until he has his 40 Will Razorface cells. It's that simple, you save a lot of gems. And the reason this works is because, as you saw with Frostbite, the more and more you buy cells, the more and more the price increases. So if you buy less cells, the price is going to be less. So to demonstrate, I'm going to buy 40 Sarah cells, and let's see how much it costs. So Sarah right now is at 11, and my gems are at 1425. There we go, I just purchased 40 Cero cells. My gems are at 1349. That means I spent 76 gems to get 40 monster cells. And if I was to spend another 76 gems on 40 Will Razorface cells, I would only spend 152 gems. So 152 gems for 40 Cero cells, 40 Will Razorface cells. And then my teammate would also have spent 152 gems to get 40 Cero cells and 40 Will Razorface cells. Now keep in mind, I only want Cero cells because I want to craft Sarah, and my teammate only wants Will Razorface cells because he only wants Will Razorface. Well, for the next few days, we just trade with each other, and eventually I'm gonna have my 80 Cero cells, and eventually my teammate is gonna have 80 Will Razorface cells, and we still only spent 152 gems. That definitely beats 240 gems. Yeah, it takes a little longer, but you save a lot of gems in the process. And this is only with 2 people. Imagine if you guys split it with 4 people. So just imagine you have a teammate that wants ROFL, you have another teammate that wants Annihilator R2, you yourself want Sarah, and you have another teammate that wants Will Razorface. So if all 4 of you make a pact to buy 20 cells from each individual monster and then just trade with each other, you would spend so little gems. In fact, let's see how many gems you would actually spend. I'm gonna go ahead and buy 20 Will Razorface cells. So right now I have 8, and for gems I have 1349. Alright, awesome, that only cost me 30 gems. With 30 gems, I was able to get 20 Will Razorface cells. So if I wanted to get 20 Will cells, 20 Sarah cells, 20 Annihilator cells, 20 ROFL cells, that would only cost 120 gems. And then assuming my 3 teammates did the exact same thing, I'm gonna request Sarah cells, they're gonna fill that request. When they request ROFL, we donate to that person. The person that wants Annihilator, we donate to that person. The person that wants Will Razorface, we donate to that person. And once everything is all said and done, all of us are gonna end up with 80 monster cells of the monster we wanted, and we would have only spent 120 gems. That is insanely awesome. So the monster cell week is one of the best times to get the monster you want, especially if you can work with your teammates. So it's all about cooperation, it's all about teamwork. So my advice to everyone is to really take advantage of the monster cell week. Get to know your teammates, find out what monsters they really want but don't have, and instead of each of you guys playing like individual players where all of you just spend 240 gems to get your 80 monster cells, just divide the work. One of you buys 40, one of you buys 40. If you can add more people to that, that's even better. So I really hope this video was helpful and informative. Please take advantage of monster cell week, utilize your teammates, utilize the friendships you've built in Monster Legends. I wish you guys the best of luck in crafting whatever monster you've been wanting to craft, or ranking up whatever monster you've been wanting to rank up. With that being said, I hope everyone has a great amazing day or a great amazing night. Remember to dream big and pursue your passions.